guys, it's Melissa here with Rooted Home and Garden. Today we're going to be planting up a beautiful succulent arrangement. I have a big garden party that's coming up in just a couple of days, and I really wanted to have my patio have some plants on and make it look extra pretty, especially on the coffee table, but I didn't want drips set up. I didn't want to have to come out and water the plants like once or twice a day because it's definitely going to be 100+ degrees during this time period. So I thought succulents is definitely the way to go. And I've got some beautiful things to put in this arrangement. I mean, look how beautiful this is. I'm so excited about this. The first thing you're going to want to have is actually some sort of container. Mine is a very shallow terracotta container, as you can tell. You're going to want something with drain holes, first of all, because succulents definitely do not like to stay wet. They want to actually dry out completely. And if they do stay wet a little too long, what ends up happening is they end up dying. They get root rot, and that's not good. They end up dying, and that's definitely not something you want to happen, especially when you spend all this money on these plants. This was not cheap to buy, so I was quite surprised how pricey this actually totaled out to be. So we want to keep them alive because that's not something, you know, money doesn't grow on trees. So I definitely want to make sure that we keep these alive and look nice, and I will be able to have this planter hopefully for the next year or two. So we'll see how that goes. The next thing you definitely want to have is actually specific type of soil. You can't just go and buy regular potting soil. What you're going to want is cactus soil, and that is actually what I have here. I've never used this product before, but as you can see, it is for cactus. What it does is actually the regular potting soil that we use for other plants. What it does is it retains moisture to keep the plants happy so we don't have to water them as often. What this does is it helps it to dry out nicely so that the plants don't sit in water, because like I said before, we definitely don't want that to happen. So it's definitely important to get a particular type of soil for this project, and again, cactus soil is definitely a way to go. I got this at Lowe's along with all these plants, and again, like I said, this is the first time I've used this product, so we want to make sure it actually turns out really nicely. Now, I've mentioned before with the watering, we want to make sure that we're not watering this plant too much. So in my zone, I live in Central California, Zone 9B, and I'm going to be probably watering these plants about once or twice a week. We get very hot summers, about 100 degrees plus, and I want to make sure that these actually get enough water. And how you can really tell, so if they get too much water, what you want to look for is if you start to touch the leaves of the plant and they start to just like break off easily, then you know that they're actually getting too much water. And so you want to cut back with the amount of water that you're actually giving them. If you're noticing that the tips are starting to turn brown, then you're probably not watering them enough. They are a little picky at first until you get used to it. Then you'll actually start to understand how much your plant needs, just like with every other plant. But you just have to watch it just to make sure that you know how much you're giving your plant and treating it right so it will perform the way you want it to perform. Now, these plants, I am going to be keeping it on my patio, like I said, under my pergola right here where I'm actually at this moment, and we're going to just be monitoring it. What they like is about 4 to 6 hours of indirect sunlight. Maybe morning sun is totally fine, but in my climate, it is just too hot to keep it outside in the 4 o'clock afternoon sun. So we want to make sure that we have it in either indirect light or morning light for about 4 to 6 hours. And here on my patio, I think it's going to be absolutely perfect. They'll be able to thrive. We have tons of indirect light. My backyard is very bright, so it's going to do really well. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to get some soil put into the ground, and then we're going to really put as much as I can into this planter and see how it goes. I do want to keep them as close together as possible because I want them to stay rather small. It's not going to kill the plant at all. Keeping them close together will actually just make it so they don't grow as big as if they actually had room. Once that happens, then I'm going to have to start transplanting them to a different pot because, as you can see, this is very shallow. But as of now, I think it's going to be perfect for the party. All right, so I've got my soil in here. Perfect. Okay, now let's get started. What I'm planning on doing is I have all sorts of colors. I have greens, I have reds, I have blues, and I just kind of want to intermix it. Now, this is all based on personal preference. You know, you can actually do it however you want to do it. I really want all of my colors to kind of mask the entire thing rather than keeping it in one, you know, color blocking it. So I want to make sure that I don't know, we'll see how I end up doing it. I'm so glad with how this turned out, and I think it's going to be absolutely beautiful on top of my coffee table under the pergola. All right, guys, well, thanks for joining me today, and have a good day. Bye.